Speaking of bringing the law, we better bring in that restraining order Danielle Harris has on Red Crank here.
Actually, the next character I was going to bring up
is Loomis.
Is the Doctor himself.
Loomis.
If you want to become a member, check out our webpage at deathcursesociety.com and click on the membership tab. You could join for the cost of a couple of pre-rolls a month.
Thanks to our final girls and guys, Christy, FaZe, Lorena, BD, Alex, and Robert, our Crazy Ralphs, Bell's Fancy Creations, Dr. Smiley, Raymond, and the whole damn Enchilada Pod. And, of course, our camp counselors, Adam, Corey, Christy, Luke, Jimmy and Rachel, Stacy Lynn, Orlando, Chuck Schick, Dave, and Patricia, Kristen, and JJ. FaZe, when was the first time you saw Rob Zombie's Halloween? Did you see it before the OG?
No, I did see the OG first, but I did not watch it in 2007. God, how old was I? I was like 15, so that would have been, I don't want to do any math right now, but it's definitely way after 2007. I would have 10 when Rob Zombies came out, so I definitely didn't see it then.
Okay, all right.
My initial thoughts when I was a teenager were not very good. They've improved since then. We'll kind of get into that as we go.
Yeah. We'll see how that is. And guys, if we need this for any damn reason,
put that away.
Yeah.
Just go watch them.
Go watch them. They're available.
Everybody's here too. Like, everybody loves Halloween. Everyone likes to talk about Halloween. It's always a hot topic, no matter what the context. And you're proving it tonight. Here comes everybody. So welcome, everybody.
If you haven't seen it by now, go fuck yourself. Like, we're going to talk about it. So, sorry, Tarek. By the way, because I know he hasn't seen Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, Tarek hasn't? Oh,
really?
Interesting.
Tarek. Well, that's
it's not required. I
understand.
We'll get you interested.
I had a couple of options of how I wanted to start this. So we just want to jump into like the opening scene of both movies and go from there, or do we want to talk about the eras that they were released in and what was going on in horror at the time of their release? You guys have an option?
The second one almost sounds like a better starting point.
Yeah, it's more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, 1978, John Carpenter and a ragtag group of filmmakers get together to put a new twist on the horror franchise, or on the horror genre. So, 2007 rolls around. Rob Zombie is offered the opportunity. Ziggy, you were alive back then, so tell us what the 70s were like. Thank you for falling for my setup. That was the entire reason.
It's brilliant. Yeah, man, the 70s were much different than 2007, of course. But I mean, here's the thing. You had already had like Psycho to kind of fuck everybody up beforehand. So this kind of thing, Halloween did come along and shake up the map for sure. I mean, but it set a standard for what was to become the slasher of the 80s, and
well, Sean Cunningham even said when he was doing Friday the 13th, was trying to rip off Halloween.
From the horse's mouth himself, he's like, look, we need to capitalize on this heat that this independent movie got, and look they made millions off of nothing, off of $300,000. And so, yeah, the crowd was a little more impressionable back then, of course. So I wonder if Halloween would be as renowned and as accepted if it like kind of were to come out in a more modern time, like now, with a more desensitized public. I wonder. But at the time,
even the 78? Is that what you mean?
I mean, yeah, if it were to be if that something like that somehow slipped through the cracks and they just made this perfect movie a little later, like 20 years later, let's say,
Okay.
and I don't know, but I'm glad it came out when it did because it really, my story. I was all excited to go see Alligator when it came out. And this double feature particularly had this other film I'd never heard of before called Halloween. It was in its first re-release with Alligator, this double feature. And Halloween played first. I didn't give a fuck about Alligator after watching Halloween. I was fucked up. That music and that mask stayed with me to this day. So, I mean, that's that, Now, that's the 70s. I don't know, 2007.
Right. So what was going on, Colonel? 2007, when Rob Zombie got the chance to do his take on it. What was going on in the horror world then?
Let's be honest, as people call it, torture porn. People, as the height of torture porn. I hate that fucking term.
Saw, Hostel.
Like, the more gore, the better. I think it was like a resurgence of gore there for a while. Because you got to think, here we are 4 years into a war. The economy's about to fall to shit. Like, it's just wasn't the best of times. Let's just say that. And I think just people were ready for a more, or I should say the studios thought people were more ready for a more violent Halloween film. And who was the hot director at the time to do it? Rob Zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, and, a lot of the horrors that was coming out during that time frame, you had some of the Scream sequels, you had some, House of Wax around that time, like 2005 or so, something like that. You had a lot of polished, almost like MTV style, horror movies. Now, Rob Zombie, of course, not necessarily, although he was featured on MTV quite a bit, not necessarily the MTV icon that we think of when we think of MTV. So it was an interesting choice, but it worked in a way. Now, clearly, fans of the 78 at the time in 2007 trashed the Rob Zombie's first one. Mostly
not all the fans from the 78, like the 78 film.
I would say a high percentage.
Had a pretty good box office, man.
Well, yeah, but I
know that it's not indicative of a well-made film, but
no. So, all right, Colonel. Counterpoint. What was the general consensus back then?
Well, it's generational. I mean,
sure.
I grew up watching obviously the 78 Halloween. This came out. I was 20, about to be 21 at the end of the year. I was the target audience for this Halloween movie. I was one of the few people that wanted a more violent Michael Myers. Give me a little bit of backstory in a Michael Myers. This is where, like, I feel like I'm throwing Zag under the bus, but not meaning to. People, Zag, that age, 10 years older or so. Like today, they weren't ready for it. They didn't want it. It don't need remade, which honestly, it really fucking didn't.
No.
They were going to die on the hill. Like, I'm dying. Like, say they remake the Monster Squad. I'm going to die on the hill. Like, you shouldn't fucking remake that. It's perfect. That's just how they were. It's just what people grew up with. I was a little bit younger, a little more impressionable, a little more open-minded to it.
All right.
I don't
go
know.
ahead. Go ahead.
I felt like this was a untouchable movie. This was one of those ones that couldn't ever be remade. I mean, I think a lot of people were on that boat at that time before it came out, when it was announced.
Yeah.
I was on the fucking edge, man, going shit.
I was on that boat.
If anybody could do it, I don't know. Maybe he'll do something here that'll be special, but...
Well, and I wasn't a big fan of Zombie, some of his early stuff before he even got to Halloween, because he had done House and Devil's Rejects before Halloween, right?
Both were fucking phenomenal. So
I'm more in line with them a little bit now, but I wasn't a big fan when they first came out.
Devil's there's magic there. House,
Come on, it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, but
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just not, I don't. It's original, but it's really not. I mean,
All right. FaZe, as the youngin of the group, were you disappointed in Rob Zombie's when you first saw it?
When I first saw it, I really hated it.
Okay.
I really did not like it. Like I wanted like just a basically a modernized copy and paste of the original, which is definitely not what it was.
no.
But I just watched it an hour ago, which is my second time watching it ever, and it's definitely warmed on me in like 10 years. I definitely appreciate it a lot more right now than I did. I hated part 2 a lot more than part 1, but man, I didn't like either of them.
Which one did you watch? What version?
What do you
Probably
mean?
probably theatrical.
Director?
Yeah, I never watched any director's cuts or anything.
oh, I got a funny story about the director's cut.
Uh-oh.
Okay, since we were talking about bringing it up.
Should I watch this director's cut?
Dude, let's just say I got it on DVD. Like I said, my mom is a huge Halloween fan.
I have it on Blu-ray. I could.
Just the original film. That's it. So I was like, hey, I got Rob Zombie's Halloween on DVD. You want me to come over? We can watch it together. She said, yeah. I was like, we'll watch the director's cut. It's gonna be more violent. Da, da, da. There's a pretty graphic grape scene, and dude, talking about feeling fucking uncomfortable. I was just sitting on the love seat like this, like, Jesus Christ, I'm watching this with my mom.
That was in the cut I just watched, though. Maybe.
Did you ever ask for grapes again? Like, at the store?
Well, I'm trying not to get us. You can't say that word.
Right.
So.
Did I watch the director's cut then? Because that scene was totally.
I don't like it because in the theatrical version, they were transporting him, and that's how he escaped. Like they're getting ready for a transport. Bill Moseley's in the scene.
A couple things.
You know what he's talking about? The escape and the 2 orderlies go in and they bring in the girl, the catatonic girl, and say, hey, we're gonna all have some fun. Come on, Mike. And then that is way different from the theatrical one. That's more Rob Zombie than fucking the theatrical one is for sure. I
guess I need to watch the director's cut again
Colonel is not, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's extra. I think it's added on the disc. I don't know if that's actually the cut though, is it?
I'm pretty sure that was the cut. But I'll be honest, ever since then I've watched the theatrical version because I can't do that scene. I don't do those. I don't enjoy watching those things.
I hate it. I hate that scene too. That's a big turn off.
He takes, everybody.
No, it takes care of them, but it's so fucking uncomfortable watching it till that point. Like,
this is like I said, Rob Zombie. If anybody is causing a need for a shower after a fucking movie they made, it's him.
He does that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. How about let's compare the openings?
Yeah.
Rob Zombies gives us, as Colonel led into, the backstory of why Michael is angry, for lack of a better word. And yeah, it's a horrible, horrible upbringing. Now, I have said for the longest fucking time that, and I still do, I loathe his opening.
Wow.
I really do. I don't like that opening segment.
Dude,
because it takes away the mystique and the mystery of what is Michael Myers. I don't need to give him some white trash background story to have that fear coming from him. So, and John Carpenter set it up perfectly in a 4-minute tracking shot. And it's a beautiful setup, and it guides you through. Now, granted, you couldn't have done what Rob Zombie did in the 70s. I don't think. Not quite.
No.
So, I love the opening. The opening of John Carpenter's Halloween is one of the best openings of all time. of
it's-
all time.
It's also 63 compared to it's 78, isn't it, when it starts?
Right.
Rob Zombies.
Yeah.
Right.
76 to 78. I only say that based on his T-shirt.
God of Thunder is playing when they come in. So, yeah, that's right on. That is strong, too, when they do that. I'll say this, man. The first viewing of Rob Zombie's Halloween, I thought the first 45 minutes must-see TV, 5-star material. I thought this is fucking fascinating. As dirty and disgusting and horrible as it is, I dug it. I thought this is a neat way. This guy's making this shit his own, and I appreciate it. And
fair enough.
My problem comes later. However, I have relented on that a little bit. I do see it's not as impactful as it was to me the first time I saw it. And I do think it's kind of, what I mean? It's not
the dialogue, and somebody else already mentioned it. I want to say it was Luke. The dialogue is outright cringy in Rob Zombies.
Yeah.
Go sit on my pole.
No, but it served a fucking purpose. I mean,
I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about the dialogue through the whole movie it's cheap.
Is this your first time watching a Rob Zombie movie? Of course
No.
not. We all know the dialogue's fucking cringy in every movie, man.
But that's the thing. John Carpenter had Deborah Hill to help him, at least with the teenage girl section of the dialogue in 78. And that absolutely helped it. Now, I don't think Rob had that help here. And everything was turned up to 11 just for shock's sake.
Since we pretty much moved on to the dialogue, I'll stick to the dialogue in the opening scene.
Okay.
Yes, it's cringy. Yes, it's trashy. But it serves the purpose of setting up the chaos that was Michael Myers' life. I mean, like Zach said, the first when it first opens up, you hear God of Thunder. There's Michael doing some fucked up shit in his Destroyer shirt. Hey, guess what? I had the same Destroyer shirt when I was about the same age. Like, it was the shit to me. I was like, yes. Mike's fucking headbanger. I like this. But like I said, it served the purpose. I mean, all right, we're comparing apples to oranges all fucking night. All right. Same title, 2 totally different movies.
I'm aware.
Zach said it great. Rob Zombie made it his own. He based this reality in reality somewhat. I mean, they even go over the points of here's the check marks, someone the likelihood of being a serial killer. It was more based in reality, where Halloween, part of the original, the part that I like about it is you don't need that reality. Mm-hmm. You just go for the fucking ride. It's just by fucking chance. Here you go. Like, that's why I'm looking forward to this one. The comparing, like, to me, they're both great fucking films for totally different reasons. One is superior than the other. We'll find out at the end of the show what I think, but
true.
It's because he made it his own is why I'm more forgiving now of it, I think, because I do appreciate the effort in that. But he made mistakes because he should have just left certain scenes alone from the original. That's the mistakes.
Okay.
And ruined a character in the movie. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Yeah, we will be comparing characters from both movies here as we go. So
ruined.
What, Colonel?
I was going to say some of those scenes. I'm sure the studio was in his ear. Hey, you got to do that. Like,
I would imagine, and I would imagine the Akkads were all up in his business about. Nope, you can't do that. I bet that script had a ton of rewrites.
No, I'm sure.
So, I'm standing by it, though. I did not like the 45-minute intro of getting to know this kid. I've said this before about other movies. If it hadn't been a Halloween movie and it had a similar kind of twist, I would have excused it. There are tons of movies that clone other movies that you can get away with and just call it something else. But, yeah, to be a remake of John Carpenter's Halloween and go that far bothered me. FaZe, what about you?
I mean, this is the part that really changed drastically for me was the first 45 minutes, because as when I was 15, I fucking hated it. I remember being like, God damn it, just kill your sister already. Just kill your sister. Just get to it. Just come. I almost fast forward to the movie until I'm like, all right, when's it gonna kill her? When's it gonna? When are we gonna get it to the first fucking minute of the original? Because God damn it, this is taking forever. This time, I was feeling a lot more patient. I mean, I'm just like, I'm ready to watch this whole thing, which after a Google search, I realized was the director's cut. And so, I'm just relaxed, and I realize this is just, Rob Zombie's interpretation. So, I'm not bothered by the original and how much he, fucked with it. I didn't mind the backstory of this kid and, his downfall to insanity. And I really liked all of the masks when they got to all that. Like, that was pretty neat. Just, I don't know. I appreciate it a lot more when you really just look at it as a different perspective, or like just an alternate universe, even just not even as a remake. I don't know. It barely feels like Halloween. It's weird, but it's all right. It's all right. The white trashiness is, they kill the people that need killing, so it's all right.
Well, and the white trashiness kind of seems to be a theme in a lot of Rob Zombie's movies.
All of them but the Munsters. So
even the Munsters had a little bit of white trash in it, I thought.
Not as bad.
Not as bad.
Argue with you, yes, but
it's more tendencies than.
Come on, dude. He grew up with a fucking Carney family. Like, that's normal to him.
I understand that, dude. But I've been to a Carney family's wedding, and you want to talk about some of the most pompous, like nose stuck up in the air, fucking people. They have money and they show it off. I mean, I saw more like cars that I can't pronounce their fucking Italian names than I've ever seen before in my life. So at that wedding, it was ridiculous. And yeah, I felt like an outsider, and I was, doing pretty well at that point, but goddamn. Anyway, let me look at some of these comments here. Luke says, I'm a crank on the horrible opening scene. Bethany says, I agree. Didn't dig the backstory. It wasn't needed.
That's where a lot of everyone is.
You guys are trying to shoehorn this into Carpenter's. You can't do that with this.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it separate, man.
Bill says he fucked up William Forsythe, though, which he deserved. Yeah, he did.
That was pretty violent, dude. And just the way he stared down at him and stuff it's pretty dark, man.
Mind blown when I found out the actress who played Michael Myers' sister in that movie was young Jenny in Forrest Gump. I was like,
yeah, Hannah Hall.
Yeah, much later than I should have found that out. I was like, really?
Run, Forrest.
There we go. What's going on here? The D's here. Silent D.
Silent D.
Says, I fucking hated that family in Rob Zombie's Halloween. That family dynamic was insane. And please shut that baby up.
Dude, let me tell you something. They looped the same scream about 16 times, man.
I hate the loop, dude. Oh my God.
Dude, they played that loop probably just as much as they played Christmas music in Terrifier 3. It was constant.
Oh, it wasn't that bad, but it's
amateurish. Come on.
Amateurish, man.
We were all ready to look at that baby and go,
fuck you.
Is it that hard to get more than one baby cry for your movie? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's got to be the easiest thing to get a baby cry sound.
It was such a specific scream, though, too. I mean,
yeah. He didn't use audio shit to like try and change it. Like,
maybe that was his little fuck you to the studios. Just like, I'm going to use this fucking loop 16 times because they made me rewrite this scene 16 times.
Shit, maybe.
Oh, you want a baby cry? Oh, another baby cry, huh? Oh, okay. I got you. A baby cry. Let me put another baby cry.
Come on, it's even funny when the fucking boyfriend was like, shut that fucking kid up at one point.
Right.
Tarek beat me to it. I was going to say babycry.wav, but he said babycry.mp3.
All right. Well, since I didn't touch on the original Halloween opening real quick before we move on.
Go ahead.
Fucking perfect. There. That's it.
Yeah.
2 words. Fucking perfect.
Oh, here's one. James says, yeah, the 45-minute intro was not good.
Wow. I don't know. Like I said, okay, we're getting an original take on the material. I dig this. Let's do it.
No, and Silent D kind of agrees, maybe. Rob Zombie just took the wholesome 78 vibe and just made it current day ratchet and cringy. That was his big spin on a classic. Yeah.
Honestly, it was, because I mean, it's even cringy in the 90s if you do the math. Like, this, I guess I would say the second half, but let's be honest, the last third of the movie, the final act.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one, though. Bethany says, white trash for Myers, though, kind of ruined it for me.
I can't say you're wrong and stuff, but you know, this is the theme he painted for us.
Yep. And Tarek even backs me up, and that's a fact. And yes, even the Munsters had some white trash flavor in it.
Yep, some
Yeah,
inspiration.
it's like trash light. You can't compare it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe it, but I accept it as Rob Zombie's picture, and just I leave it at that. It doesn't bother me too much, I guess.
All right. Yeah. So, oh, what's this? Luke, I guess I'll hit this now. Luke says Rob has the chops to make the biggest movie of his career, but he also needs someone to co-write with him. He was going to do a movie about some hockey team. I forget what it was called. I
Broad
truly
Street
think he's
Bullies.
Street Bullies, yeah.
Oh, okay.
74 Philadelphia Flyers, 74, something like that.
Yep.
I truly think he's a talented fella. I get that filmmaking is difficult. I'm sure the studios were on his ass 24/7. Possibly, yeah.
They made a shit ton of money off that movie, so
They
They
did.
made enough to give it a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, it made enough to give. They made enough to give him a trilogy,
Yeah.
and he turned down doing the third one. And they almost went forward without him, but then nix.
All I gotta do is listen to his stories, how much of a fucking nightmare it was making Rob Zombie the Halloween 2 with the fucking studio.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the mood of the films next, because the mood in Carpenter's chef's kiss, baby, just put there and not shoved in your face, just there for you to take in. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the music. That we had a trivia question in New Mexico where how long did it take him to write that music? Like 6 days or something like that.
It was short. Yeah, it was
3 days?
or something.
4 days
Yeah.
or something like
4
that.
days, yeah. So, but he knew that music was going to save that film. Ziggy, you wrote that trivia question. Tell us a little bit more about the mood and the music of Carpenter's 78 classic.
They watched it. It just wasn't scary. It wasn't working. It did not work.
Mhm.
And he knew, though. He goes, I got this. I know what we need to do. He goes, I'm going to save this with music. And they were just all like, oh, you fucking better get on it, motherfucker, because this is bullshit, And so they got on it, man. And he already had it pictured what he was going to do. The paradiddle pattern on the classic Halloween theme. And they wrote it out, dude. And they had 2 keyboards and a couple of sequencers, man. And watched the fucking movie and just played along to it. God, I wish I was a fly on the wall in that fucking room.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
But it's a perfect soundtrack, and it copied and mimicked and duplicated thousands of times. And even the inspirations are always pretty fucking good. So, I mean, I always love a good Carpenter ripoff, man.
All right. Colonel, how about you?
The moods are just, again, comparing apples to fucking oranges here. The original Halloween, like I said, the music sets the fucking mood.
Mhm.
It's suspenseful the entire time, especially the music paired with, Michael just fucking stalking and like it just keeps you on the edge of your seat. Where Rob Zombie, of course, at this point, the Halloween theme's fucking set. It's just, you got to rip off the original fucking Halloween theme. And then to his credit, I think what Rob Zombie does a pretty good job is using licensed music in his films. So just hearing the licensed music in his film kind of makes it, like I said, gives it a little more reality based. But it's just chaos. You're comparing stalking to just pure fucking chaos. Those are the 2 moods. Like just
I don't know, though.
Bro,
I don't know though, because there was some stalking elements, and even in zombies.
you had
Halloween.
to have stalking
Some.
of making a Halloween film. Let's be
And,
honest.
and I will say this, even as the young kid, Dave Parrish, he even had some stalking elements that I
Yes,
like.
but-
That one shot right before he kills the bully, and the bully's walking down like between the trees or whatever, but you can see Dave at the end of that row of trees, just waiting for him. You know.
Yeah, but think like the original '78 film. How long does Michael fucking stalk? Laurie and everybody. It's just a slow fucking stalk.
Yeah.
Yes,
40,
and Rob Zombie
40 minutes.
stalks, but he strikes faster if it makes sense. I know he just strikes fast in the original Halloween, but like take the scene with Dee Wallace when he's looking for Laurie.
Mhm.
She's just chilling on the porch. Boom, right in the fucking house, like a fucking rattlesnake. It's just chaos. It's chaotic. It's just totally different vibe, even with the stalking. If that makes sense.
There's several moments though where he's like in the background or behind somebody. And I agree with you. He does strike a lot faster, more like a rattlesnake. But like the moment where he's behind the girl, Lindsay, at that one point when Annie is telling her, "Hey, get ready. We're going to go over to your boyfriend Tommy Doyle's house." She's like, "Okay," and then he's just looming behind her. That's a chilling scene from Rob Zombies at least, but the mood in the '78, like I said, was just great. The mood in 2007, chaos is a good way to put it. Yeah, I'll go with you on that. Ziggy, what about you? What do you think?
Just Michael Myers is such a different force in zombies. You know what I mean? He's not so subtle. And he is, but he's 300 fucking pounds and 6'5". You know what I mean? That's a little bit different than what we got in Carpenter's, where you got a 6-foot guy and it's 150 pounds, 160 maybe. Looks like a mental patient to me. Somebody that's just kind of sits there catatonically. I believe more the Carpenter version, as opposed to the mask making 300-pound eating very well in Smith's Grove, man. They must have a nice menu there.
Dude, that boy didn't even know when he was a kid.
Nice gym too.
No kidding. Strong ass.
It's all right, man, because I get. Boy, it really helped watching this just a couple hours ago. I get what they wanted with that and why he went this way with it. He wanted Michael to be, in this reality-based world, a force, not where Michael Myers became supernatural. I mean, he's kind of in the first one. He's a man. You would say, right? It's. I would say that's the most regular world one there is. Carpenter's,
In '78, yeah.
I mean,
he could take a beating, but yeah.
This is why the shit works so good, because that was any street, any town, man. This shit could have happened, and it just worked. But yeah, I don't know. Chaos. Yeah, I guess chaos is it, man. Chaos is the fucking word for zombies. It's just he's coming at you like a bull, and get out of the way, and hopefully you don't get gored on the run by.
Faze, any thoughts to add on the two moods? Just the chilling versus chaos.
I mean, I can't say anything more on the soundtrack of the original. I will say on Rob Zombies, just I don't really agree with Colonel with the good use of copyright material. I mean, he did "Don't Fear the Reaper" twice, which is like one of the most popular songs from the 80s, 90s, and just every poll was just so basic, so like radio most popular. Just
if you want to,
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to reach a wide audience, you go for popular,
and that's fair. But like,
and
I love Blue Oyster Cult and I love Don't Fear the Reaper, but it's just like it's in every fucking movie,
and in the original Halloween as well when they're driving.
You have to.
Not twice.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I can agree with you about not using it twice. Yes, but I mean that one he had to put in.
Had to tribute it.
I will say though that he did use a Tom Sawyer from Rush, which is nice, even if that is their most popular poll as well. I listen to the classic rock station every day, so I hear this music a lot.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but not everybody's like a music nerd. Like to me, you want to reach a wider audience, you play the popular.
That's fair.
That's all.
I think we've got to go here now. Nick Castle's Michael Myers or Shape versus Tyler Maine's The Shape. Colonel?
Again, like I said, this is just
apples and oranges.
Apples and oranges. Like that's what I'm saying. It's two totally different films. It's not as easy as like the Nightmare on Elm Street original and the remake, where they try to make them similar. These are two totally different films. Of course, the edge is definitely going to go to Nick Castle in The Shape. I mean, who the fuck? There was no fucking like he just did what John told him to do. There wasn't no blueprint. So even Rob Zombies, you got the blueprint. We already mentioned it with the stalking. It's just you're just going to make him more violent. And it was where the original Shape was silent. This one fucking grunts. You hear the anger in his kills. So of course it's like we're comparing fast zombies to slow zombies here. Right. In my opinion, I'll take the classical slow zombies or the classical Shape over these running motherfuckers and this violent motherfucker. Both effective, but the strong silent type usually fucking wins out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. I like Tarek's comment here. Ziggy and Colonel both now saying you can't compare the two films. Yes, you can. That's literally what we're here for.
Yes, but like I said, it's different, if that makes sense. This one's different than the other ones we've done.
You can compare them. Unfortunately, you have to look at them as separate entities is all. Both Halloween. I'm trying. You can't shoehorn it into any of the other's universe. It won't work that way. Ever. But I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I know what everybody's saying. And I'm with Zach. Obviously, me and Zach are in the same boat with this one. If you try to shoehorn them both, you're going to hate Rob Zombie's Halloween. At the end of the day, I'm going to say you're going to fucking hate it if you try to.
You're probably right. You might be right.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course, Nick Castle, I thought, did a tremendous job. Silent performance, besides the breathing.
Which is fucking fantastic.
Beautiful touch. I don't think even if Rob Zombie had tried to emulate that, you could have gotten away with in 2007. So I think he had to make a change there. I don't think Rob Zombie could have emulated that or copied that from Carpenter's. I think he had to raise the bar for 2007 because, as we talked about, I think with Smile too, when you have a sequel, you got to raise the stakes. Same thing kind of goes with a remake anymore, especially when it's been 30 years or 20 years or longer for some. I don't know. I just, and I don't hate Tyler Maine's portrayal. This one I will give you. This one is two different movies in the portrayal of Michael Myers, because the character alone is, chaos versus chilling.
Sure.
I'll go with you on that one.
Nick Castle, yeah. I mean, he had the luxury of this terrifying mask to hide behind, but the mannerisms, the smoothness of it that he did, and the stoic, it just fucking still, every bit of it works. Everything he did worked. And obviously, it's mimicked a bit, but Taylor Maine had to take it his own way, man. He had to go his own way with it, and he did. And I agree with you guys 100%. I think both of these guys' portrayals are pretty good. Even the mask, the changes they made, I liked the mask back then. I thought it was pretty good. I know we're going to talk about that too, but as far as my Michael Myers, I'm going to go with the Nick Castle, the subtle over the brutal bull.
Of course.
Yes, you have to. I mean, I guess maybe a couple of times a year you're going to wake up and go, you know what? Give me the Maine. But every other time it's going to be the Castle, yeah.
Well, and I mean, we've met both of these guys, Nick and Tyler, several times. Mm-hmm. They're both always, most of the time they're always very nice. There was one time where one of them wasn't very nice. Neither here nor there.
Got a little diva-ish, that's all. Wasn't Nick Castle.
It was not Nick.
Fuck's sake.
But no, I mean, but you know,
I don't even want people thinking that.
they've gotten used to it, or they've gotten used to seeing us around now. So, I think. So yeah, they're always very nice, very cool. Still would love to sit down with Tyler though and have a conversation at a panel or
It's gonna happen.
you know, come on the show and chat about stuff. I remember when we got at least one of the times that we got Nick Castle's autograph. We sat there and talked to him for like 30 minutes.
He's
You know?
just so cool.
For some reason, you know, I think at that time, at that con, everyone had just already met him or at some point, I think, because it was just nobody was coming over. Because we were ready to step aside as soon as anybody did. And then, next thing you know, I'm all looking at my watch like, what the fuck? We've been talking to this guy straight up 30 minutes, and it's he's okay with it. I mean, Curl and I had a similar experience with Tom Atkins once.
Yes.
Acting like, oh, that was hysterical with the beer and everything. And,
That's hand down is probably my favorite interaction with a celebrity ever at any con. Before I started doing this, and definitely since. So.
Yeah.
Don't ever offer to take a celebrity's beer from their table.
I didn't offer to take one.
Hey, he just said, you need some help drinking that beer, I'm right here. And he was like, oh, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
Should have known better.
Let me ask you guys this, too. While we got it out here, we're on these guys. Castle or Courtney? Since the one kind of copied him pretty much verbatim, you know.
Yeah, James Jude Courtney pretty much is like Castle, just 40 years older.
He is Castle.
Castle. I mean,
yeah, I would say he just took it and watched it, and then he made it his own too. A 60-year-old Michael Myers.
He made it a little bit more brutal.
Well, in that second one, for sure.
I'm just messing.
The fireman.
Well, no, I mean, even in the first one, you know, with the teeth and the jaw rip, and even that bathroom scene with the podcaster girl. With
Yeah, he's definitely more of a taunting Michael Myers.
With Rhian Reese.
Rhian Reese.
Yeah. That scene, he was pretty brutal, you know. And it escalates as the movie goes on. Well, until the third one, of course. But I mean, Nick Castle, obviously, even over Courtney, because it's a copy, you know. But it's not a bad copy.
No, it's
Crank hit the nail on the head for me.
It was believable. It seemed like the same type of guy, so I appreciated that. And we got Castle in there on a couple of scenes too. That was cool.
Right.
I feel like every slasher, the first actor is always the best. Is there a slasher where the original actor wasn't the best one?
Yes,
Friday the 13th, Ted White.
Yep, Ted White's the best.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the different like stages of Jason in Friday, you know, because he is kind of the, you know, lumbering, almost clumsy at times, hillbilly in part 2, and he becomes a little bit more refined in part 3, you know, and more stalker, more, you know, Nick Castle, really more of the shape in part 3, and in part 4, he's just bad to the bone.
Yeah,
the best.
Jared. That's fair. That's very fair.
So I like the evolution of that character though, and you can yell at me about continuity and yada 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 all you want, but
you don't worry about that with Friday, man. You just don't. I don't.
Well, you got to forgive some things, man.
Yes.
You can't beat Castle's performance as Michael Myers. You just there's no way. At this point, I don't think that. Like a lot of that was the filmography, the music, just the whole combination of what made Michael Myers that character back then could never ever be repeated.
Michael Myers should thank God for Panavision and his insistence upon using it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
only
too.
took up half the fucking budget.
Yeah.
Right. No shit.
Yeah. Can you imagine if it was a shittier shot fucking frame, though? It might not have been as epic like that. Those long shots. And God damn it, that shot, man. That main. I hope we talk about that shot when she is locked out. The
long walk across the street.
Damn it, it's so
Oh,
good,
yeah.
still, man. It is so good still. It is so good still. And the music just keeps, I'm listening to watch it on the 4K thing now, man. And it's layering up as he's getting closer, it keeps adding, here come the timpani, boom, boom, as every beat now, and it's just fucking sweet.
Dude, watching it on my fucking sound bar
Mhm.
had a whole new fucking level to it, just watching it at home.
That's why I wanted to go to the movies again,
Yeah.
All right. We've compared the Myers phase. I'm going to start with you now. How about the Lauries? Jamie Lee Curtis versus Scout Taylor Compton.
I mean, I'll just say this: Scout Taylor Compton is. I mean, they're very different. I'm not sure what word to use. Just more bubbly, bouncy. Just the
100%.
voices are very different. Once again, it's very hard to compare them because they're so fucking different. But I really like them both. I mean, obviously, the OG all day. Even though, if I were just comparing the actors, I prefer Scout, but that's neither here nor there. Just performance-wise, you're never going to beat that original. And, of course, poor Scout working against that fucking script.
Right.
It really hurt. I mean, she would have done a great job if she was working with a better script.
And sadly, I think 90% of the movies she does have awful fucking scripts.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, at least most of the ones I've seen her in.
Especially
Good enough
recently.
breakthrough.
Well, her and Danielle are going to start writing their own. So
Yeah.
let's see how that goes. I'm curious to see those productions. Of course, this is Jamie Lee Curtis's first role.
First film.
Film, right? It has grown to an iconic status. But this is one of those moments where the movies of the time, I like both. I'm on Phase's side of this. Now, granted, you're going to give Jamie the edge, because it is such an iconic role. But I liked Scout's take on it. I really did. And this is one of those moments where I kind of wanted to bring in the sequel. I didn't care too much for, and again, this was partly on the script. I didn't care too much for Jamie Lee's take in part 2.
She's drugged out of her mind for the whole thing.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there. There's not a whole lot of meat on the bone for her character there.
No.
They're more focused on Loomis. I feel
It's
like.
easy to go with, though.
But Rob Zombie's had some fucking meat on the bone for Scout to play with.
Sure.
And God damn.
Trauma.
She does it well.
Trauma is a bitch, and
PTSD like a motherfucker.
He was going to do some stuff like that. Unfortunately, he also wanted to do White Pony stuff, too. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Colonel?
Yeah, I can't really talk on the sequels because, like I said, I did not, especially Rob Zombie's one, because I have to watch that again if I could really comment on it. I remember enjoying Scout's performance in that for what it was. But the original, I mean, I'm with you guys. They both knocked it out of the fucking ballpark. I love that in the original Halloween. Laurie's the quiet, shy kid, the typical goody two-shoes teenager, I assume, from 78. The little timid thing that has to kind of fight for her life, where I felt Laurie was a little bit more, and Rob Zombie's a little more ready for that fight. She just had a tougher, I don't want to say tougher. She had more personality. I'll just say it like that. She wasn't.
Yeah, she was still kind of nerdy.
Yeah, well, of course, but I mean, compare the two. I mean, so it's what we're doing. Two totally different characters. It's hard to explain because they are two different characters.
Yeah, I think they are.
Fuck, man. Like I said, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis gets the nod in this one. But then again, like I said, Scout did a good job with Laurie and Rob Zombie's Halloween. I think he was trying to get away from that quiet, nerdy type girl trope at this point.
Well, and I'll say Scout in Zombies version seemed a little bit more resourceful.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit, you know. She was trying to hide a little bit more. She was trying to, you know, there was a little bit more of that, I thought. At least different kinds of hiding, I guess. I mean, you can't just stick her in a closet and call it good, you know. But I don't know. I thought Scout was a little bit more resourceful. So, Damon's got a good breakdown here. Scout was more record store babe. Jamie Lee was a bookworm.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
Really good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Scout as a record store babe for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, Ziggy, jump in. Come on.
Jamie Lee Curtis, one of the original Scream queens, and just built this into. She got how many roles that like this after playing the same type, but nerdy bookworm, just reserved, shy, and then just the strength is ripped out of her to protect these kids and becomes a hero. Rob Zombie's, I think she is nerdy and bubbly, but she's more the fight or flight, and she's a fighter. Yeah. She's clearly a fighter. So I mean, that's where I think the difference is. It's not something she had to like morph into. She had it, and it just when the switch was flipped, she was on, man. So I like them both. I like both of these Laurie Strodes for their own reasons, just like you guys. Exactly.
Okay. All right. BK says Curtis had a better scream, and in her voice sounded visibly shaken the last 20 minutes of the movie. Okay, yeah. I would agree with that.
Well, I would say, I mean, if you had to repeat the line, the keys in that high pitch, your voice would sound a little shaky too.
How about a demonstration, Colonel?
Yeah, what are you talking about, Colonel?
Oh my God! But if you have glasses, put them away from your speakers because they're about to fucking pop. The keys.
Ooh,
Jesus!
I don't know how he does that.
I don't know, but it does not feel good.
I can't.
A little bit of some inside joke on that one, but we do love that line.
Well, you've probably done it live on the show for Friday the 13th.
Yeah, for the live streams.
Yeah.
All right.
Luke, probably
Luke says, last half of Zombies Halloween, Scout was on fire. Yes. And I'll say carries that over almost seamlessly into H2. I will say that.
Halloween, hands down, is the best Rob Zombie film ending, with the exception of probably The Devil's Rejects.
Whoa! We're not.
I know. I'm just saying. Listen,
son of a bitch!
I'm setting something up now. Shut the fuck up. Because because we know how it ends, but it's someone just talked about Jamie Lee Curtis's scream. That scream. That's the only time she hits she hits the top fucking thing, and it just keeps going up there. It keeps maxing out, man, because of what just happened with that tragic fucking moment. And I love it. I love the way that one ends. So, I mean, but they talk about that scream, both of these screams. Jamie Lee Curtis, man, that thing is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know that one. You could hear that anywhere. She does it in every fucking movie. Go ahead.
Right. Sorry, my finger slipped. James says, Scout was in Model House, and they turned us into Killers this year, but I didn't like either one. They turned us into Killers was absolutely dreadful.
I missed both of them.
I haven't seen Model House yet. I think it's finally on Tubi or something now, so I can probably check it out. But Yeah, I don't have any high hopes for that. But she's also got she directed like an action film that is supposed to be coming out fairly soon. I don't know if it's this year or not, but I want to check that out. James, do you know what I'm talking about? If you do, throw the title in there for me if you know if you know the movie I'm talking about. Damon says Rob Zombie's Lori was ready for anything after living in that house. Well, Scout had to fight off her mom's boyfriend. Well, keep in mind she was a baby before everybody died, so she got picked up by the Strodes, and she probably doesn't really remember that much about what Michael went through in Rob
Yeah, she
Zombie.
wouldn't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he kissed her. He kissed her as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So right before getting taken away so she would remember any of that.
Right. And of course, the boyfriend was offed in the opening, and then mom offs herself later on. So,
Right. She doesn't know about any of that.
No, I don't think that would be applicable.
Oh no, there's a sequel coming to They Turned Us Into Killers.
Well, They Turned Us Into Killers is a sequel to Room 9.
Yes. But now it's Room 9 Part 2. This is getting confusing. Bring the Law is the one you're talking about, directed by Compton, and it's in post-production.
Yeah. Bring the Law?
Bring the Law.
No, that's a terrible title.
Speaking of bringing the law, we better bring in that restraining order Danielle Harris has on Red Crank here.
Actually, the next character I was going to bring up
Is Loomis.
is the doctor himself.
Loomis.
Okay, I got you.
Donald Pleasance versus Malcolm McDowell. Colonel, start with you.
Again, not fair.
It really isn't, man. Like that's
Damn it.
so fucked.
This is where I'm like, McDowell did a good job, but he's not fucking Loomis. Donald Pleasance would be the only person that could ever pull off fucking Loomis, dude. It's just, this is when I'm like, I'm no fun because I can't. It's fucking Donald Pleasance, man. Hands down, just that fucking monologue in the house. Nothing that McDowell said in Rob Zombie's Halloween could even fucking come close to that. It's just, I mean, he had his little monologue deal, like when he's like doing that presentation, hawking his fucking book. But no, it just didn't have the same feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he did what he could. He wasn't bad, but he's no Loomis.
All right. Phase.
Yeah, it's just, again, the original is just way too classic, way too iconic. And with Rob Zombies, you're going against a shit fucking script. I mean, especially Loomis's, right? I feel like his is some of the worst dialogue. I mean, fuck.
And just the character they turned him into. It's like,
there are a couple of moments in even the original where it's just like, why is he saying anything right now?
Right. The fucking book he put out, like, he's like, yeah, it's a masterpiece. Like that's not Loomis, but
Malcolm? No.
I appreciated the early moments where he was talking to Michael, but I don't know. The more of him you saw, the worse he kind of got. Whereas in the original, I mean, he was in such an important part of that whole fucking film, man.
Yeah, and he took the time to scare the shit out of some little kids and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hey, Lonnie,
Get
your ass away from there.
Grizzly makes a good point. Tough one for the doctor, but Malcolm, I think, is the only one that could even fill those shoes.
I mean,
We are supposed to compare.
I don't know many actors, so I'm not good at that kind of stuff. But
it's too iconic of a role, man. Like that's like someone trying to replace Freddy. We've had this discussion a million times. I don't think you could do it.
I don't know. That's a good point, though. I don't know who could. Malcolm is a good pick. I'll go with that. But who else would you have picked in 2007 to play Loomis, or even now? Who would you pick now to play Loomis?
You can't. I don't think you can. Because Rob Zombie, he always liked to get those not so fresh actors anymore. He's a big horror nerd, so of course he's going to bring everybody from all the films he liked growing up into his movies. That was a pretty good fucking choice.
Ooh.
But it doesn't matter because you can't touch it. I'm sorry, you can't. I mean, who would play it now? Like who? Anthony Hopkins? Go ahead, motherfucker from Warm Bodies you talk about all the time. Directed by Mike Flanagan.
I got one for you for Dr. Loomis.
All right.
Brian motherfucking Cranston.
Really?
Jeffrey Combs.
Good one.
I really dig Bryan Cranston, but I mean, and geez, even Damon saying Giancarlo Esposito. Let's just get every Breaking Bad actor to play Loomis.
There we go. D says Giancarlo Esposito.
Ooh, Patrick Stewart.
Tarek says Patrick Stewart.
Oh, okay. I'm all right.
I could dig that actually.
I'm all right with that.
He would understand the material. If you think about it, like I think he could do a really good fucking job.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It didn't matter. It does not matter who was going to play Loomis in this movie Rob Zombie wrote, because that's just it. Rob Zombie fucked the character Loomis over in the writing.
Let's let you have the floor.
Did, dude.
Yep. Go right ahead. Keep going on that.
Oh, yes. I mean, everything Loomis was, all that compassion and the things you believe that he was really trying to help this guy is gone. I mean, because he's got all the charm of a pawn shop owner in the fucking ghetto. This fucking Loomis, it's terrible. I mean, and I like Malcolm McDowell. It's not his fault.
No,
but this Loomis. And then when he comes and writes the fucking book, god damn it, man!
That's when it ruined him.
Just fucking nailed home. Like, okay, just another every bad colored, smelly Rob Zombie, stinky character. Here's another one. You know, it's the exact same fucking thing. And it's a shame because he had a chance to do something to have stand out, maybe have a beacon of light, something, some hope. And you got a very weak. He don't want to run into Michael Myers again, man. He's scared to death of this motherfucker. So, I mean,
there are
hints. I didn't like it.
There are hints in Rob Zombie's Halloween when you first meet Loomis. You can tell he's kind of he's there for the money and the fame. He's not there for the caring of the kid.
This is what I'm saying. And he said, Malcolm McDowell said, I did not watch Halloween, any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it and went in cold. Maybe he should have for this one. You know, it might have helped a little bit to understand the psychology of it. And I don't know, maybe he could have bucked the fucking script a little bit, maybe added a little bit more to it because he is that level of actor. We know this. But fuck, man, I was disappointed with the Loomis all the way around.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Donald Pleasance.
Would you say that's the worst character in all of Rob Zombie's Halloween saga?
Yeah, it's hard to not like the guy
because
or it's hard to like the guy. Sorry.
Yeah, I even like the strip club owner in 2 a little bit better than I like this guy.
Yeah,
but that's Daniel Roebuck. So
I don't like.
Who wants to fuck Frankenstein?
Fuck. I don't like Sam Loomis in Rob Zombie's universe.
Huh. Let's see. Can't go back. What's going on with my computer tonight? Or maybe it's StreamYard or something.
Yeah, right.
Luke says, bring Tom Atkins back in to play Loomis. Ignore his icon in H3. If I thought Atkins could do any acting whatsoever anymore, I would say that's probably a good call.
I'll be honest. Yeah. Even in his younger days, I don't think Atkins had the acting chops to pull off Loomis. And I'm a Tom Atkins fan. I don't think he could.
That could be fun though.
It'll be a lot of fun. Totally different character. Could you imagine him laying
Loomis banging Lori now?
He'd be laying down he'd be picking up the fucking hot single moms on the street.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bacon. Bring me back some Miller Lite.
No.
So wait, your mom is a stripper at the Rabbit in Red? I'll have to go and talk to her for a little bit. Hey, we're gonna need a conference here, Miss Miss Myers. God damn it. All right, what's going on here? Anything else to add on Loomis?
Loomis, no.
No, I think we're good.
Donald Pleasance. That's how you do Loomis.
That is how you do Loomis.
Shit, even the guy in the fucking David Gordon Green sequels was better than the Loomis in the fucking zombie, man.
Yeah. All right. All right. Annie and Linda. PJ Souls and Nancy Loomis in 78, and then also played by Christina Klebe, and of course the wonderful Danielle Harris in 2007.
I mean, again, just Murdered by the same exact fucking deal, man. Just can't beat the classic. Murdered by the Dialogue by Zombie. I mean, I can't say. I mean, didn't Carpenter have somebody help him with the
Deborah
Teenage
Hill.
Girl dialogue?
Yeah. Deborah
Yeah.
Hill wrote it.
Deborah Hill. Yeah, Rob Zombie needed more than like one person of help, but somebody would have, you know.
Sherry Moon helped him.
Just again, just bad scripting fucked him. But again,
Did
the
she?
acting wasn't terrible.
Maybe Rob Zombie's not as white trash as we think. Maybe it's Sherry.
No.
That guy's just
A victim of
far gone.
circumstance.
Yeah, he's deep in it, so he can't see.
Good
It's
God.
like, you know what would be great?
You know, it'd be great if you were a stripper in this movie. All right. Calm down now. Lorena says, Danielle Harris, watch Crank Drool. I'm doing fine right now. Everybody chill.
Annie and Linda, I love them. I mean, they have such a great chemistry in the first one. They have a great chemistry in the second one with the remake. It's a different one, though. You know, it's more,
And it's
but
different.
it's believable both ways. But I mean, come on, Linda, you asshole. No, I mean, they're just fucking. They're walking home and everything, the whole deal, and just a little minute discussions like, oh shit, I forgot my book. So who cares? I always
Right.
forget my chemistry book and my math book.
History.
Yeah. I always forget all my books. Who needs books anyway? Who cares if you have your books or not? You know, and it's a little more raw, of course. Rob Zombie-fied conversation of what he thinks girls that age might be saying. So it's a little
And
bit.
in 2007, maybe he's right. I don't fucking know.
It's not that outrageous. I mean, it does fit the times. So, and it's a Rob Zombie movie. We know already by now, but there is some wild exchanges between all the characters, you know, that are involved with those characters that when they're playing. But you can't touch. You know, it's so believable. Annie and Linda and Lori in Carpenter's Halloween. Am I right, Colonel?
You're wrong. This is where I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb. I'm going with PJ. All right, but then I'm going with Danielle.
You thought Danielle did Annie better?
I think so. Granted, they're similar characters. I didn't like how, like, you know, my daddy's a fucking cop. Okay, I didn't like that shit. I just thought Nancy Loomis's acting is so robotic compared to Danielle's. I just thought this here I'm going strictly just who I thought was a better actor, not character. I thought Danielle acted the shit out of that role.
Weren't Nancy and Carpenter dating at the time that they were shooting this movie?
Probably.
Or-
I thought he was hooking up with Deborah. I don't know.
Part of it?
Probably. I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm going Danielle and PJ. So I'm taking.
Wasn't she? Wait. Oh no. PJ Souls was with Dennis Quaid
Right.
at the time, who was
'Cause he was
almost
supposed to-
fucking Bob.
Yeah, he was going to come in and do a role.
That would have been crazy, man.
So I want to split it up. I'm not going to pick which two I like better. I'm taking who I like from each.
I thought Danielle did great, but I like Annie's more such a dry delivery on the material. I mean, it was just all of it was like, well, I have a place for that. You know, it was always like that. And yeah, I guess you could say it was robotic, but I think it worked for the 70s. Oh, there we go. See, you mentioned Dennis Quaid, and Lorena's like, Dennis Quaid, watch Zag Drool.
No.
There's a throwback.
Be fine.
Do you like that Annie survives in the Rob Zombie version?
I wouldn't say I hated it. I was okay with it. Like, all right, you know, I was okay with it. It's fine. I mean, because there were so many more extra people he killed. Now, I mean, I was still kind of disappointed he killed Joe Grizzly, bitch. Like, I wish he would have survived more than Annie. But I'm a Ken 4E fan. So.
Yes.
I think I counted 21 kills in Rob Zombies as opposed to the 5 in John Carpenter's, not counting the 2 dogs.
A couple more, you know, just a few.
Yeah.
Barely any blood.
Well, yeah, no blood. Yeah, one drop on her arm, and that was about it in her hand. Yeah.
John's like, come here.
I'll tell you what.
Come here. We ran out of budget. We had to use a Panavision. Don't still ketchup bottle. All right, you're good. Get in there, kid.
Get in there. We're still rolling. We got to go.
Danielle Harris, when she is wounded and trying to warn Lori, who doesn't see that Michael Myers is there yet, is heart-wrenching and awesome.
Yeah.
And I was kind of glad she...
Danielle owned H2. I thought that was some of the best acting of both movies, some of the best acting of Danielle's career. And I've seen a lot of her shit.
There's one more character / actor. We don't need to compare the two. I was going to give a special shout out to Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett and Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, God, yes.
God, awesome.
Fantastic.
He is great. Better than Cypher's?
I didn't even want to compare the two, but I'm going to say yes. Like, I didn't. Like, here, thank you.
I'll say yes, because there's a lot more to it.
Mm-hmm.
So is that the one scene, the one thing that we have decided as a whole was better in Rob Zombie's version than Carpenter's?
The character of Steve Brackett is better in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
All right. Put that in the bank. That's the only thing.
That's sad.
That is the only thing we've agreed on, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, maybe Danielle as Annie, but I don't know. I liked her performance a little bit better, but
I guess it's just an age thing for me. I like Nancy Loomis.
All right. Last thing I wanted to talk about was the endings of the first one. And then we may bleed a little bit into the sequels, but probably not a whole lot. But ending of John Carpenter's, Loomis shoots him, he looks down, body's gone. And he has that look of, great, this is going to go on.
Yep.
Rob Zombie's, Laurie shoots him in the fucking face and snaps.
And screams and screams and screams.
And it's a good fucking scream.
Fucking, that's what I'm saying. You're walking out of that theater like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I did see Rob Zombies in the theater, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I certainly did.
I did for sure, certain.
Yeah. That may have actually been the first Rob Zombie film I saw. Like back then.
I liked it. I like that ending. But they're both great endings. And the other one did it right, though. Now they're showing you everywhere he fucking was, and they layer that breathing in on you. That stayed with you for fucking 2 weeks when you walked out of Halloween back then.
Well, especially because the set of John Carpenter's Halloween looked like every town, like every small town or every suburb that you've ever been to.
Those fucking lamps in the beginning when he's first going in. Everybody had those fucking things.
Rob Zombies didn't necessarily look like every town.
No.
Well, I think it did, minus the Myers house.
All right.
I mean, I think it looked more like every town than we'll say Halloween 2018. Only because, the restaurant scene and stuff, to me, it kind of threw me off. And that is every town. You got your fucking, let's go to fucking Chili's for dinner as a family and da-da-da-da-da. That's the only scene that where I was like, this just doesn't feel like every town. But
Hmm.
again, I mean, I see what you're saying.
Come on in and get your dollar margarita from Applebee's.
That's right. God damn it. I don't get kicked out of Applebee's before fucking the end of October 31st. I think.
Because you catch your breath for a minute in the first one, and then they just punch you right in the fucking stomach. It's outstanding. The last one is just it's a multi-car accident level of like, Jesus Christ. You know, when that gun finally goes off and the blood hits her. Yeah, she lost her mind worse than Chris Higgins and anybody. So I mean, it's she sells it great. Because it's the one thing about Scout Taylor Compton is I do think she kind of overacted it just a hair, you know what I mean? A little bit over the top, her portrayal of it, but I still like it because of the bubbly. But I mean, man, when she hit that ending, she fucking nailed it. That
I don't know,
perfect, man. That was perfect.
I don't know. I don't know if she overdid it because, I mean, it carries over to the next one. Now, again, she doesn't have a great script in the next one, and I hate some of her fucking dialogue in Rob Zombie's 2. Mm-hmm. I hate a lot of her dialogue in 2, but I like where he went with that character.
Well, the trauma thing, that was smart, you know. I mean, that's a little more believable than just being a little bit of an alcoholic after, you know, all these years and stuff. I mean, it's not, granted, a lot shorter amount of time, too.
Based in reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only a year later when Zombies H2 picks up. You know, if you're comparing it to H2O, that's 20 years later. So Jamie Lee, is that what you were talking about? Someone just being an alcoholic
like
after the trauma?
20 years later again, you know, and they pretty much did the same thing.
Sort of, but I mean, she changed her name, she moved, she buried her identity. I still like H2O for weird reasons, and I don't know exactly why.
Best ending outside of the first one.
I disagree about that.
If there is no resurrection,
H2O hater, I'm not a fan of it.
If there's no resurrection, if that was the true end of Halloween, that would have been the best. If that was truly Michael Myers and she just, you know what I mean? Whatever. You can say, oh, that made her go crazy, and that's what got her in the asylum for the little fucking cameo and shit. Fuck all that, man. That was fucking the way to do it. You ended that shit. You did it right. That's the point. They should have rebooted shit and started over.
FaZe, what did you think of the endings of both films?
I mean, of course, the original is just amazing. I shot him 6 times, you know, just you can't fucking. And I'm actually surprised Rob Zombie didn't just outright copy that same exact ending. You know, he kept it original. You know, he kept it unique. I'll give him credit for that. It's just it goes on for a little while in Rob Zombies, I feel like. And I did just watch director's cut, so I don't know if that has a part to do with it, but it goes on and on compared to the original.
That's just Rob Zombie, man. That's everything.
Yeah. That's fair enough there. That's true. His finales are fucking long and bloody. I mean, yeah, it's just that they really are so different, but it's just that the original gives you that fucking feeling. Like very eerie, very creeped out, very like, oh man, cannot wait to see a sequel. Rob Zombies, not so much.
Well, John Carpenter's natural ending and then taking it the same night for his Halloween 2, 3 years later. I thought that was a great concept. Maybe not executed as perfectly as it could have been, and it definitely not executed as perfectly as, you know, the original 78 film. But I like honestly, I kind of like where both sequels went. They just didn't pay off exactly for me. And there was even one person that commented on one of the posts, I think that we put out, or one of the posts I put out about comparing Rob Zombies, that called H2 genius. And buddy, I respect. I want to sit down and talk with him a little bit more about it and see exactly what he likes about it. But I have a feeling he's
probably
into
that
that white
house-
horse mythology
art
and all that
house
shit.
mythology, exactly. And the Halloween movie isn't the kind of this isn't the place for that.
Right.
That's what I feel.
The
Wholeheartedly.
whole, behold the riders of the white horse, and his name is Death. Is a little, like I said, that's still too arts housey for a fucking Halloween movie, man.
I agree.
You're talking
wish-
out of class.
I wish they would take all that white horse, all the ghost. Well, honestly, I wish Rob Zombie would take his wife out of pretty much every fucking movie he ever does.
Oh my
because
god.
she is probably the third worst actress I've really ever seen in my life. Sorry, but
She's
well,
good
to
at
have multiple roles.
She's good at Halloween as Miss Myers. The
She's
stripper.
good in the first one.
Yeah.
I can't stand her in the second one. I can't stand that whole thing in the second one.
That she don't bother me as much as she does other people. I'm not going to say she's a great actress, but at least in his first 3 films, I thought she was okay. Like after that, it's questionable. But at that point, you're used to it. It's like, she's going to be there. She's he's come to deal with it. But speaking
All
of
right.
Her autograph.
Oh yeah, I'd still get her autograph, but like on a House of 1,000 Corpses thing or something.
Yeah.
I've got that one.
You've got that Sid Haig thing. You've got to
Yeah.
get.
Oh,
finished.
sure.
Yeah,
It's all 3
Oh.
of them. So.
that would be cool. Yeah.
and there's not much I can add to it. I just want to go back a little bit to just before the endings. Dude, those chase scenes are fucking so much fun. Like Zach said, I mean, in the original Halloween, it's like chase, you get a break. Chase, get a break. Which I like. One of the most terrifying scenes in fucking horror history for me. And when she's chilling, he's laying in the back, he just sits up.
Mhm.
Oh my god, still to this day, I think it's fucking terrifying and phenomenal. As to where, like I said, the Rob Zombie's ending is just fucking relentless. It's just nonstop. Boom, 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 boom.
Until he's done. Yeah, until
Yeah,
he's
until
out.
he's done. Yeah, and obviously the original Halloween is a way better ending, but Rob Zombie's Halloween ending, I think, is very satisfying. It's like,
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm good with this. This is a very just he's done. He's dead. There's no way he's coming back from that. It took a fucking 45 point blank to the fucking face. So, but did he really come back?
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
It's some of the theory. That's all in her head, so
The whole movie's all in her head.
yeah.
Right.
No, I don't like that theory.
No, I don't like that theory. At
Well,
all.
yeah, because you got all the fucking scenes when he's out there interacting with outside
Other
of her
people.
head. What the fuck?
Yeah.
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 So
I now I understand the opening scene is all in her head,
Mhm.
but
Yeah. Now listen.
that's
I'll say my last piece on this, and then we can put a bow on this thing. Halloween is Halloween. It's the template for the slasher entire genre, pretty much. At least put it into high gear. And Rob Zombie, when he started this, like at the first 45 minutes, is fascinating. He's making this his own until the 46th minute when he starts retelling John Carpenter's Halloween. And this is my problem with this movie, man, because you took all that shit. You've taken an hour and a half movie and cut it in half. So all those tense shots, those tense moments from Halloween that he tried to retell. This is what I mean. If he'd have just left those alone and made up his own scenarios, maybe similar to it, but just do it differently. But he tried to reshoot the same shit, and it's all rushed, and it sucks. That part sucks when they do that, Now, yes, when it gets to the ending is totally different. So, I mean, and thank God for that. But I mean, this is where the mistake was made, trying to retell that any of the magic from that first movie was a mistake after you gave us that first 45 minutes.
See, I don't mind the second. I like the second half of Rob Zombie's Halloween a little bit better than I do the first half. I because it feels like a more compressed, chaotic version of Carpenter's. I can
A lot more on bracket. It's crazy, but I mean that's I felt that way from the first viewing, and I felt it just a few hours ago when I watched it tonight. It's just I would have just lightly tributed some of those scenes, not try to reshoot those scenes, because that's you're set up. You can't do it. You cannot do it. You can't do it like they did it back then. So this is what fucked it up for me.
And, we've talked about this before, but Gus Van Sant's remake of Psycho was just a complete, failure in every sense of the word, I think. Because they tried to do shot-by-shot remake. The only thing they really changed on that was, like, the amount of money she stole from $40,000 to $400,000 to adjust for inflation between the 60s and the 90s or whatever.
Shit.
I wasn't against that, but then after I watched it, I kind of went, "We didn't need this."
Yeah, why? It's in color. Yay! Anyway, this is a good comparison, I think. Luke says, "Carpenter's Halloween, a cinematic horror classic. Rob Zombies is an edgelord slasher for Slipknot fans."
That's not bad, actually.
The only thing that I really have a complaint with Rob Zombie's Halloween overall, like I said, the rushed second half. It felt rushed. But this is a movie, I think you guys would hate this, where I'd be okay with it being 2 hours long or a little bit longer, like most horror movies today.
Oof.
Flush that second half out a little bit more, but then again, I'm an oddball. I enjoy those long horror movies if they're done well.
I would agree with that if they took out that 45-minute first half.
Good Lord, you
That's
too.
what I'm saying. I'm saying you should have stayed on that road and just did the whole thing, man, like this, and just, you know what I mean? Just all original, just everything different happens, but it just gets us to that same kind of road. I don't know, man. Maybe it would have been a little bit more. I had a little bit more something for it, but I mean, I feel the same. All these years later, I feel exactly the same, and it's a shame.
All right, Phase score for the original 78 version, score for Rob Zombie's remake.
The original's always been like a 9.9. I mean, I have a hard time giving anything a 10. I mean, I only really give that to very few. I mean, it's so fucking good. I have nothing bad to say about it. Rob Zombies, I don't know. I would probably say a 6, but man, that director's cut with that fucking raunchy fucking scene, dude, that almost brings it down to a 4.5. I'll say 5. I'll say 5. That is a raunchy damn scene. And it's warmed on me since I was a teen when I hated it, but still, there's no touching the original.
Right. Grizzly, this is what I said at the beginning of the fucking show. I think Rob Zombies would have been better if it were not Halloween.
That's fair. It's very true.
Yeah, they say that about the third one too.
They did.
People have gotten over that.
A lot of people have changed their mind about that. Hey,
Most people have gotten over
I like Rob Zombies a little bit more than I did when it first came out. Now,
we have worse Halloween films now.
Well, that's true, but I don't hate it, and I can't necessarily say I ever hated it. I hated the opening. That's it.
Sure.
The rest of it, I can make up for. All right, Colonel, scores for both of them, please.
The original, not much to say. 10. I never give 10s. There's very few horror movies that get a 10. The original being one of them. Classic, cinematic, fucking masterpiece, really. Can't be touched, especially for its time. Rob Zombie's Halloween. Man, if I was to rate it based on my reaction in 2007, probably an 8, 8.5. I still really enjoy this film, but it has not aged all that well, but it's still better than quite a few other Halloween movies. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay. Ziggy.
Yeah. I didn't like it as much as I did now watching it today. I was like, wow. I had definitely reversed my stance a little bit on Zombies Halloween. But I still think the first 45 minutes is absolutely amazing. Just a great take on it, in my opinion. And the rushed retelling of the classic hurts this quite a bit. Like the ending a lot. 7 for Rob Zombie's Halloween. And the classic, man, I mean, just everything about it. Just why it put me on the path I'm on. Just the soundtrack, acquiring the soundtrack as a kid in various cassettes, having my crazy electronic uncle rig 2 VCRs together before anybody thought of this to do this, because he was a TV repair guy, and dubbed a copy of Halloween for me when I was young, and which I wore out. I mean, it was absolutely, it looked black and white by the time I was done with it. The last time I watched it, it just was played out. I just love it, man. Everything about it, the way it left me feeling, looking at it today still, when that music hits, when the light goes off and they're taking it during that first shot, and then that's drone just stays the whole time. I can't stand it, man. It's fucking the best. It's a 10. It's a fucking 10. The only 10 I've ever given a movie. And not only that, after repeated viewings of Halloween and Dawn of the Dead, I can safely say and honestly say Halloween is number 1 for Zigzag by itself.
Ooh,
You
shit.
motherfucker. You used to be on my side by giving Dawn of the Dead. Well, again, Dawn of the Dead's my other 10. 1A, 1B. Dawn of the Dead slightly edges it out, but it's the gore, I'll be honest.
I'm going, I just man, I was capped. I sat in my chair and just watched Halloween just by myself, just right here in front of on my screen, man. And it was just fabulous. And just still, I'm like thinking all this time fucking later, and it's still this fucking good, man. 45.
It's still this fucking good.
Still
Yeah.
this good. 10. 10. Fucking 10.
Yeah.
It deserves every 10.
I'm going to be quick and say 10 and 7. But you don't know which one is which. So
Oh, okay. Sure.
just kidding. You do know. Thanks to our final girls and guys, Christy, C-Phase, Lorena, BD, Alex, and Robert, our crazy Ralphs, Bella's Fancy Creations, Dr. Smiley, Raymond, and the whole damn enchilada pod. And, of course, to our camp counselors, Adam, Corey, Christy, Luke, Jimmy and Rachel, Stacy Lynn, Orlando, Chuck, Sheck, Dave, Patricia, Kristen, and JJ.